He wants to be the next Speaker of the House. He's an Ohio congressman, one of the most popular in Congress. He is you're the former chairman of the Freedom Caucus, aren't you?
That's right. That's right, Sean.
And Mark Meadows beat you out for the second run, right?
Yeah, wasn't a race, but Mark's doing a great job and leading our group. That's for darn sure.
Well, one thing that I would like to highlight, if you don't mind me getting into it, there were a bunch of allegations made against you by individuals that, in fact, that you knew about as an assistant coach, and when I guess you were in your early 20s, that you were adamant and passionate about that you knew nothing of. And I saw that you were getting trashed, and there was a rush to judgment, as there usually is. And now I'm seeing a number of these people, I don't know how many exactly, now rescinded what they said about you.
Yeah, because it wasn't true. Every single coach has said the same thing I have. All kinds of wrestlers have said the same thing I have. And the reason they said all that, Sean, because it's the truth. I mean, think about this. So I'm the guy who stood up to the...
By the way, I got in trouble for saying on TV, because I've known you all these years and I know the person you are. I knew it was a fabrication. Yep. Absolutely knew it. But, I live in this world where I get smeared and slandered all the time, and I recognize it when I see it.
Next to the president, you've probably dealt with this more than anyone else, Sean. So you know how ridiculous it is, and you know how tough it is to when people are just saying things that are not true, that are just lies. But look, I stood up to the Speaker of the House from our own state. I stood up to the IRS. We're standing up to the FBI and the crazy things they tried to do to the President Trump and his campaign. To think I wouldn't stand up for our athletes if I thought something wrong was happening? Of course I would. This is so ridiculous. But the good news is everybody sees through it, and we're focused on doing what we told the people we were going to do and helping President Trump get things done.
Well, and the good news is that, you know what, it took a while, and I'm sure it was painful to you and your family. And to be honest, I've built up so many immunities, I barely even notice the attacks anymore. I just expect them. And
right.
But it is what it is.
I tell our colleagues, Sean, all the time, if the mainstream media isn't saying something bad about you, you're probably not doing anything any good.
I think you're right.
You know how this works. You know how this works, and you just got to keep focused on the job and the goal. And
you also learn who your friends are in these moments too.
Sure do. And I appreciate what you said. I appreciate what the president said.
No.
You two were the first two to come out and say this is ridiculous, and I so appreciate that.
I know you. I know who you are. I knew this wasn't true. I'm glad it worked out. Now, let me go to this. All right, so now that we got now that the Russia investigation has gotten certain things out of the way, lying to the FBI, even though the agents that interviewed General Flynn didn't think he was lying, nor did Comey think he was lying, and Papadopoulos, I bet he regrets being a campaign volunteer. All right, so the lying part to the FBI is out of the way. Now those that committed tax fraud from years before that had nothing to do with the Trump campaign and made false statements on a loan application. Now that all that's out of the way, and the two campaign finance issues are out of the way completely as it relates to Donald Trump, they're dead issues. Every lawyer that has any brains knows it. Are we going to finally, now close to 500 days in, are we ever going to get to the collusion part, the Russian interference part, the Russian dossier that was propagated, the lies to the American people, and the fraud committed 4 times on FISA court judges with bought and paid for Hillary Clinton Russian lies? Are we going to now get to that part?
I think we're going to get some answers next Tuesday when we have Bruce Orr in a deposition. I'm looking forward to asking him a number of questions. Never forget the basics here, Sean, and you've been great about this, highlighting this for the American people. Bruce Orr, top Justice Department official, his wife worked for the firm hired by the Clintons to put together the dossier. 4 weeks ago in a hearing, Peter Strzok told me, third round of questioning, took me a while to get this, but third round of questioning, Peter Strzok told me, yes, in fact, the FBI was getting parts of the dossier from none other than Bruce Orr. You cannot do that in this country, but they did it. Bruce Orr's wife, working for the firm hired by the Clintons, was handing the dossier, the work product from that firm, handing the dossier to the FBI, and they then used it to go to the secret court to get the warrant to spy on President Trump's campaign. That actually happened. We know that for a fact. What we need to know from Bruce Orr is, who'd you talk to? Did Sally Yates know about it? Did Rod Rosenstein know about it? And maybe more importantly, who did you hand those dossiers to? Who at the FBI actually took receipt of those when you gave them to them, as Peter Strzok said under oath? So lots of important questions we hope to get the answers to next week.
So, and it does have to do with Russian lies bought and paid for, correct? And that were used to misinform
Yes.
the American people to help Hillary Clinton win. That's all true, right?
Yeah, never. Right. We always highlight the basics here. The Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie, the law firm, who paid Fusion GPS, who paid a foreigner, Christopher Steele, to do what? Go talk to Russians and put together a garbage document called the dossier that they took to the court, and they didn't tell the court who paid for it, but they used it to get a warrant to spy on President Trump's campaign. Those are the facts. So there's the collusion, but no, we've spent 18, 19, whatever, how many months it is now, 15, 16 months trying to figure out was there any.
Yeah, we're coming up on 500 days of this crap.
500 days. It's ridiculous, and not one bit of evidence to show any type of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia to impact the election.
You know, as you watched all the events unfolding yesterday, and I'm like, well, there are lessons to be learned. I mean, number one, you can't lie to the FBI. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to cheat on your taxes. They're going to get you. Pay your money. Pay what you owe. And if you don't like that they're high, work to change the laws, but don't decide on your own. You're not going to pay. I know people that did this. It never works out well for them. It's really dumb.
Does.
And the third thing is don't lie in loan applications to banks. I think that's a bad idea, too. Now, with that said, I would also say it's a bad idea that if Congress subpoenas my emails, that I shouldn't delete them or acid wash my hard drive with bleach pit. And I don't think it would be a good idea to have someone bust up my devices with hammers and pull out SIM cards. To me, why haven't people been held accountable there?
Yeah, because unfortunately today, and this is something that you've talked on, and our constituents, the folks around the country know, we now have two standards adjusted. One for us regular people, but a different set if your name is Clinton, Comey, Lynch, Lerner, McCabe, Strzok. A different set of rules for those guys compared to what we regular Americans and the folks I get the privilege of representing and the folks you get to talk to every day on your shows, what they have to live under. And it is never supposed to work. How about this fact, Sean? Why is it that only Republicans get, if there's a campaign finance violation, why is it only Republicans? Dinesh D'Souza went to jail, but the Obama campaign, the John Edwards campaign, they have campaign finance violations. No one ever goes to jail then, but Dinesh has to do it for something that he. This is the other double standard. Only Republicans get hit with campaign finance violations, never the Democrats.
That's such a good point. And, we actually, I don't know, maybe I'm very old-fashioned, but, when I go before a judge, I really only had to go for parking tickets if we're going to be blunt here. But I say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor. And I'm very respectful. And the idea that I would take information that I haven't verified or corroborated, even though the law requires that you can't present it if you don't know it to be true. We know that happened with the FISA applications and the Steele dossier that Christopher Steele himself doesn't stand by because in an interrogatory in Great Britain, he said that, I don't know if it's true. It's raw intelligence, 50-50. I think I'd probably be in deep trouble if I committed a fraud on a court, don't you think?
Of course you would. When you go to court, when I go to court, when your listeners, your viewers, my constituents go to court, they have to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When the FBI took the FISA application to the court, they didn't tell them who paid for it, and more importantly, or as importantly, they didn't tell them the guy who wrote the darn thing, Christopher Steele, had been fired by the FBI because he's out leaking information. So that is a big problem, and they used that document. Again, it all comes back to the dossier. They used that document to secure the ability to spy on the Trump campaign. And that is what is so wrong about this whole sordid deal.
It is sad that we're at this point. Are you confident, for those people that look at where this Mueller investigation has taken us, nothing to do with Russia on any of these issues, that have been made, all the big deal that they've spent on all of this, and they see these crimes that have been committed, and we see that there are people within government with the most power that abuse their power, and that none of them are being held accountable. And you talk about a two-tier justice system. We're supposed to have in our constitutional republic equal justice and application of our laws. If we don't have that, what does that mean for the country?
It's not healthy. What they did is never supposed to happen in this great nation, the greatest country ever, where we have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It is never supposed to work the way it did. And that is what bothers me so much. It's what bothers our constituents. Just yesterday I said, a constituent comes out. It happens all the time. When is someone going to be held accountable? And I said, you know what? We can't prosecute anyone. All we can do is bring out the facts and the truth so that the American people can see what took place. But I hope people who actually did this wrong are held to account. Right now, there is a criminal referral for Andy McCabe. Maybe someone's going to be held accountable. But our job, Sean, and your job is to continue to bring the truth out so the American people can see it. And I am not going to stop until I've got every single answer that I think.
You know what everybody says to me? Hey, keep going, Hannity. By the way, when are they going to pound down? This is what people are afraid of. When are they going to knock down your door and Greg Jarrett's door and Sarah Carter's door and, and Jim Jordan's door? Because you guys are exposing this corruption and abuse of power. And I said, well, I guess that's the day the music dies, that the United States doesn't exist anymore.
Yes. Sean, how is it that Twitter can shadow ban 4 people? Mark Meadows, Devin Nunes, Matt Gaetz, and Jim Jordan. And then Twitter says, oh, no, it was a glitch in our algorithm. And I'm like, what'd you put in your algorithm? The names Meadows, Nunes, Gaetz, and Jordan? You got to be kidding me. Like, this is what we're now seeing in the greatest country ever, and it's all because of this crazy stuff that went on at the top levels of the FBI. So we have got to continue to do this because, as you point out, where does it end? Where does it end?
Good point. All right, Jim Jordan, Ohio congressman, running for speaker. We'll have more on that in the weeks and months ahead. We're now 76 days away from the most important midterm in our lifetime.